What Happened This Week podcast. Just two best friends chatting in the trailer about all the things you are thinking about. Because you never know with Kim and Tricia.
Straight out of the trailer. Hey guys, coming at you from another week of quarantine. We're within our safe quarantine distance from each other.
I don't know if this is 6 feet, maybe like 3 feet.
And by the time I sit back in my chair, you sit back in your chair at the table. I think we're probably about a good 4.5 feet.
Good 4.5 feet. Okay, that's good.
If you got to cough the other direction, okay?
Right. Well, you know, have you been in a store, which we really try not to be in stores right now because we're not on lockdown, but we are supposed to be social distancing. But if you go to the store and someone sneezes, like we went to Lowe's yesterday, as soon as we got out of the truck, Gavin sneezed, and we're like, don't sneeze! Not that it means anything. It's just like you're so super sensitive now, right? And it's like, I don't have corona, you know?
Like my allergies had acted up this week. I'm like, oh my god, this cannot be happening right now.
Like you have to like throw it out there to say, I do not have corona. Exactly. I have a head cold or it's my allergies. Exactly. So it's really, it's crazy that this is the world that we're in right now.
Like Gavin got sick this week and he had a fever and like he had like some mouth stuff going on and nobody would see him. Luckily, I used that Teledoc, and it turns out Gavin was really little. He got a really bad respiratory virus, and it almost killed him. He was like 5 weeks old, and we spent 2 weeks at St. Mary's on like breathing machines and things. And so the doctor said that this has just reared its head. It's probably stress.
Right.
He's going through a lot right now, you know, as far as everybody is.
Sure.
But anyway, so, and what it did is it inflamed his gums and then allowed for bacteria to get in there, and now he has an infection. So somebody was like, he has a fever. That's the corona. I was like, there have been fevers for centuries.
Right.
And it wasn't the corona.
That's it.
You know, we know that this is what it is. He's on antibiotics and he has not had a fever since. So we're all getting better. So we don't have corona.
I know. You have to put that disclaimer out there. It's kind of crazy. I'll tell you what, the telemedicine stuff is pretty cool.
It was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, we just, I signed myself up for it and then I just signed up James for we haven't had to use it yet. But it's definitely something, you know, working in the medical world right now, is I've noticed that a lot of physicians are moving towards telehealth just because, you know, it limits the exposure.
Yes.
So it's really useful for that purpose. You know, there are certain things you can't use it for, but for the most part, aches and pains, you know, flu-like symptoms. I know that there is a local urgent care center actually here in Palm City. They're doing drive-through. So
cool.
You can actually pull up. You can they will come out to your car, do a test for not corona,
regular flu,
but regular flu or strep throat. They will bring it back into the facility while you're sitting in your parking lot, test it, and come back and then call you with the results.
That's good.
It's the one right there by Hurricanes.
Oh yeah, we went there while Gavin hurt his foot.
Yeah, so they're doing that, so which is kind of cool. So it's just different that a lot of, you know, businesses or medical world, they're able to kind of be a little bit more resilient and be more creative on how they can still see their patients. Because, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you want to limit your exposure, but 100%. You also have a moral obligation to service these people.
Well, like, I have to go to the doctor, right? So I have an appointment tomorrow with my OB. And I contemplated, like, pushing it back. But I thought, okay, if this gets worse, then I'm now in the epicenter of it. Because my OB's in a different county, but it has a higher caseload than we have. And I was like, okay, and Jason's not allowed to go with me now. He's going to drive down and wait in the car. You know, because then they call me and told me. So I see 3 people when every appointment I have. So I see my, like, midwife or my OB. Like, they rotate through because you never know who you're going to have. And then I see ultrasound tech. And then I see a high-risk physician because I'm a geriatric.
Because you're an old lady.
I'm an old lady, okay? So, and I've seen her before, and that was because I was a low-weight baby when I was born. I was 5 pounds. Gavin was 6 pounds, Reagan was 7 pounds, so they're getting bigger. But that was one reason last time I went with Reagan was because they were concerned that she would be low birth weight. She was not. Anyway, my third doctor, the specialist, no longer is seeing patients in the office. So when I leave my appointment after ultrasound, I will have like 10 minutes. I can either go to the lobby or go back to my car, and she will call me on that telemedicine.
Yeah. I mean, that's the world we're in right now, which is pretty sad. You know, I've been working from home. And I'm over it. I am so over it. I mean, you know, I'm grateful to have a job, first 100%. And foremost. But working from home is just, it's a different animal because I literally get up, take a shower, and walk to the next room. And I'm all business from the waist up, you know, flip-flop, black belt shorts. But I have gotten, and we talked about it last week, I've got into a routine now because I'm so, like, my chair is not designed for me to sit for 8 hours. I feel like I work more because at this point, you know, that hour before you go to work, or you show up to work early.
Yeah.
Right? Or I would be out and about driving in the field and scoping out things. Like, what am I doing with my hour? So now I'm sitting another extra hour, right, to get things done. And I started going for a bike ride.
Good for you.
Yeah, so I actually I want to make sure, because I'm like, we get an hour lunch, 30 minutes. I'm not even quite sure where we're at with lunches, because it's just I would always be on the go and stuff. So I set my alarm for 15 minutes. I kind of push the envelope, and I go and I ride my bike, and I come back, and it works, and then
nice.
I actually did like a 30-minute bike ride. I rode over to Taylor was with her grandma, so I just showed up. I'm like, all right, I'm here to pick you up. She's like, on the bike? I'm like, get on the handlebars. I'm like, just jokes. I just needed a
poor
point
girl.
B.
She's like, what is mom throwing at me?
You never know. I was like, I'll come back to get you in a little bit. But so that's been a little bit, that's been nice. It kind of takes the edge off.
That's awesome. Hopefully you get your meetings, like any of your Zoom meetings, done in the morning, because that would be so cool. You get up, take a shower, get yourself ready, do your Zoom meetings, and then by lunch, or so if your meetings stop at 1:00, then I would totally take my lunch and do a workout, so it didn't matter what I looked like then for the rest of the day when I went back to work. I mean, I wouldn't do that now. I'm very pregnant, but
no.
I watch these people on Instagram, and they're like, hey, good for them. Thank God, good for them. They're up there and they'll do their Zoom workouts with their people, and I'm just popping cookies.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if I wasn't pregnant, I'd work out, but
I know, and and I'm not pregnant, so I should be working out. But it's so it's just sitting around, and I want to get out and get some air, and it's just nice. And I see other people. It's funny because even though they've closed our parks, they've closed our boat ramps
on the weekends.
They're open during the week. They're during the week, but the parks they've closed indefinitely. Mm-hmm. You still see people walking. It's this is almost there's always a silver lining to things. So it's almost forcing people to get out and not necessarily socialize, but just get out and enjoy nature.
Oh my gosh! On my way to work, I drove over the bridge. There were so many people walking that bridge. I was like, oh my gosh! I was like, maybe I don't usually, because I usually go a different way, a different bridge, but I was like, this is not normal for a Thursday. This is normal. It used to be Saturday and Sunday mornings, and I'm like,
right.
Do you walk by somebody, cover up? No, don't breathe on me. I don't know.
It's wild. I did have my sister's kids. Luckily here in Florida, daycares are open, and I think it's a saving grace to those parents who have to work outside of the home or even working in the home to still have their daycares open. So my sister being a corrections officer, it's not like she can work from home in that position. So luckily her daycare is open, but she has a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old, and that's not really a daycare setting because we're talking that's babies, but the daycare lady will take them, which is really nice.
Very nice.
I mean, that's a blessing. Can you imagine?
What she's supposed to do,
Exactly. So I did take them for Thursday just to kind of, because they don't want to be with 6-month-old babies and 2-year-olds. They're older. I get it. Girl, let me tell you what, by 11 o'clock, we were on activity 569, okay? I am like, how are these mothers doing it?
I don't even, and I think maybe because we don't do this all the time, stay home with our children full time, so we're overstimulating them because we're trying to keep them busy because we're like, oh my gosh, because yesterday Jason and his dad went out to the property doing more clearing with the tractor and stuff like that. So I had Reagan. It doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal, but we don't, not only, we have weekend routines, but it's usually done with Jason and I together, you know. We don't have, our daily routine does not involve staying in our house the whole time. On our weekends, we're usually never home. So this is a whole new animal. Last week you brought her kit. We had gotten painting and some kinetic sand for her. And, Jason's mom got her some stickers and stuff. And that's fine. But I was like, I didn't feel like painting yesterday, so we weren't going to paint. Jason did forget his tools, so we had to get in the car and drive to the property to drop them off to him. And it was okay, what can we do next? And then we got home. And Jason's mom took her for a golf cart ride and went and fed the horses and then came back and, that kind of stuff. So, just trying to, figure out. And I'm like, am I doing too much for her? So I just let her go play.
Right.
Just go play.
Just go play. Yeah.
Go to your toys. That you have 5,000 toys in this house.
And I think it's just the guilt of having to put up, having them have, this is almost the norm for them, and it's not the norm for us. So you're right. I think there is definitely some overstimulation going on. I mean, Taylor was the activities director for the day because it was the only way I was able to take the 2 kids because I am working from home. And it was all good till about 11 o'clock. One of them fell asleep. I sent you the picture and said, remember I said, is it okay to give a kid Benadryl? Not that I did.
Right.
And then the other one was in there watching Frozen with Taylor. So it was perfect.
Right.
11 o'clock, lunchtime, all hell broke loose. And then Taylor was like, all right, who wants to do, because I said, go pick up the coconuts out in the yard. So then Taylor's like, we'll have a you know, a tie, Mom. So she was really creative in that. And then Allison, one of our faithful listeners, said, why don't they paint them? I'm like, oh my God, that's even more better.
Exactly.
So we gathered all the coconuts. Taylor set up like this picnic area. And of course, you know, that was fun for like 5 minutes. Right? And Taylor was still sitting there painting like an hour later. I'm like, all right, Taylor, the kids are the kids.
Like, we have such high hopes of like, they're going to do this project.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be glorious.
Wonderful. Like, you brought the Play-Doh last week. It's like, oh, yeah, Reagan, look at all these shapes. And it's like, all right, I'm done.
And,
Next.
It's like
no.
And I said to Taylor, I was like, you know me, I'm always trying to hustle. I'm like, we can make some money. I'm like, do a really good job. We can sell these on Etsy. Like, we will
Corona
coconuts for sale. And so then it was like we had our highs and our lows, and by like 4:00, I was like, oh my gosh, Kelly gets off at 4, and I'm like counting down the minutes. She rolls up at like 4:45.
So you
hit
your
like,
baby.
Get your kids, and get out. You know, and then Eli comes in, and it was just like, I couldn't imagine. And she's like, you know, being at home with all 3 of them, she said, they destroy my house. I said,
I bet.
I don't even clean. Like, I didn't even care. Like, I was like, there was just stuff everywhere.
It was just survival, Kim.
That's a survival mode. Survival mode, 110%. So, but Kelly, then it's funny because Taylor and I just kind of sat there at the kitchen table for dinner and just kind of decompressed a little bit as
No
to
one spoke.
whatever just happened, because I'm like, I was on conference calls and I had the choice to either do an 8:00 or a 4:00, and I was like, I'm gonna do the 4:00. I am so glad I did the 8:00.
Yeah.
Because at the last minute, I'm like, I pulled the trigger on the 8:00, and I'm like, because by 4:00, everything, it was like done.
Oh
right?
my God, it was like the Tasmanian devil had come to your house.
Seriously?
And had left behind these crazy children.
Oh
and
my God.
they were done with you as much as you were done with them.
You know what? I kept threatening them with the babysitter's name. Because like, you want to go back there? I will get you in my car right now. And I had a stick. I mean, it was just, because they just fight, you know, because that's brothers and sisters do. And so Kelly texted me, I kid you not, while we're decompressing at the kitchen table that night, do you want to take the kids to next Thursday night? I said, this is the wrong time to ask me this. Ask me tomorrow.
Ask me when I miss them.
Right, exactly. I was like...
Because now I haven't missed them yet.
So I looked at Taylor, I'm like, can we have the kids Thursday? I can! I'm like, you know what? You better get on your activities. Go, I have to do school, Mom. So, but we're going to, you know, we're going to take them. So, I mean, to me, it's kind of...
Gavin can come over and help.
Well,
because I think they're supposed to do schoolwork on Wednesday.
They're doing schoolwork on Wednesday, and I said to Taylor, I was like, is he coming Thursday too? I'm like, one can take one and one can take the other. And I'm like, oh God, it's just a different way of life for sure. So, you know, and I think the kids are getting over it, you know. I mean, I'm just tired of like, you know, never having any food, any of the grocery stores. But I did learn that some of our grocery stores get more deliveries than others. Like, so Hope Sound, for instance, where I live, it's not a rural area, but it's not as frequently, I guess, foot traffic as maybe a Palm City.
Oh, ours are like our Palm City, the Martin Downs, and the busiest ones in the county. I bet they get a lot of deliveries.
I hear they get them every day.
Yeah.
Versus Hope Sound only gets them 3 times a week.
Yeah.
So instead of like complaining, me thinking to complain, while go to one that gets the most frequent.
Right.
Because there's a lot of disparity. Like, I'll have no meat, and people at Cove Road are like, we have plenty of meat and chicken, and you know, I bought a rotisserie chicken, and James like, why'd you buy it? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just buying shit. I don't know. I'm just buying stuff because I feel like I'm going to need to cook them.
They're like, what, like, you know, 2 beef products per person or whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, what if you have one of them big families? Like, like you have like 5 or 6 kids or something. Yeah. Like, one package is not going to take care of it.
Have they limited the beef?
Yeah.
See, that they haven't done that at ours yet.
Well, you don't have any, so you don't know.
That's right. That's right. I mean, there might be like, you know what they have? They have like filet mignons, or they have like the expensive like.
That's what Jason's mom said, because I haven't been to Publix. I don't go in being like in my state, but in the condition I'm in, like all in there they put out yesterday were like expensive steaks.
Mm-hmm. That's all. $27, $28 for these, like, you know, which, you know, it's, I'll have to tell you, you know, I'm a couponer, right? You know, this is hurting me.
Oh yeah.
Do you know how bad? Like, usually before I go into Publix or before I go to Winn-Dixie, I go on my app and I clip my coupons. Then I, you know, put my phone number in. This has just been savage because it's just every man for themselves, and it's not like I can take a good sweet time to look for my stuff. I have to get in and get out, and I always remember, Kim, you need toilet paper. It's the last aisle I go down. That's the reason I go there.
You should go first.
I have to retrain my thought. James knew what James said, and he made a good point. He goes, they should totally put the toilet paper on a different aisle.
You know what they're doing now is that when they have it, they give you a ticket. They don't even put it on the shelf now.
I heard that at our Publix, they were handing it as people were walking, just assuming that's what you're there for.
Well, like, they don't even put it on the shelf. Like, Jason's mom said that they give out tickets.
Really?
And they don't even put it on the shelf. They just go pick it up from your pallet or whatever.
That goes to show you that that's like Black Friday crap.
That's what I said. I was like, this is Black Friday. Like, forget small electronics. It's toilet paper.
Yeah, I told you my mom said she would send me some, but she was afraid that they would scan the package and see what was inside and steal it. I'm like, really, Mom? I don't think they're X-raying the packages. But she was like, that's what I heard. I'm like,
well, my Amazon toilet paper comes in the box. Like, it doesn't come in an Amazon box. It comes in the toilet paper.
It's Charmin. It
just says Amazon Basics on it. So you may not know what that is.
I don't know. You could cut a little peephole in there, and people will say, you know what? We'll take that to the family. Well, there was a 18-wheeler in North Carolina.
Hijacked or something, right?
Site got hijacked with all this toilet paper. I mean, that's a hot commodity. It's like liquid gold.
I saw the cutest thing on Facebook. It was like, my house just got TP'd. Its new value, it's been estimated, its appraised value now is $875,000. Seriously, can you spare a square? I mean, it's insane. So, I mean, I am running a little low, and because, I'm at home, it's like I told Kelly's kids on Thursday, I said, you went through one damn roll of toilet paper in one day. What are y'all doing with this stuff? You better tell Kelly, she doesn't need to come over with toilet paper.
I told her, I'm like, next Thursday, bring a roll of toilet paper, because I need to recover my stash, because you're kids.
She's good on toilet paper. She just sends everybody everywhere else.
That's just like, this is just... I did actually go on my way here because I heard about the Cove Road Publix. Like when you get, like you're setting, but they won't allow. And I don't. They might have allowed me in there, but they're doing that from 8 to 9. They're allowing the 65 and plus to go in, which I think is great. However, now you're having it's like a cesspool, right? Of nothing but 65 and plusers.
So my mom went. It was 7 to 8 here at her Publix, and downtown Publix. And she got there, like, right before 7. She's like, it's in the dark. There's people standing outside. Less than, they're definitely not within their 6 feet thing. And she's like, it was crazy. And they carded you as you went in. And,
really?
Yeah. And I said, well, why didn't you just wait and go at 7:45? Because then all them people that were in line are already done.
It's the hype, man.
It's still not 8 o'clock. I said, just wait, because they got to get there. They gotta get there. It's like, try to get an appointment at a doctor's office in season when they're in town.
No.
Because they're up at 4 o'clock in the morning. They want that 8 a.m. doctor's appointment. They don't care that people have to work at 9.
None. And, so I went to the Publix. I pulled in the parking lot, and I noticed a lot of elderly folks walking into there. And I'm like, you know what? I forgot it's that that Publix, it's that hour. So then I drove over to Walgreens. They don't open until 9. And this was like 8:30. That's why I was a little early today. So I'm going to be scouring and looking for toilet paper on my way home.
I'll send you home with toilet paper.
But I'm in fear.
Okay, this is what I need you to do going forward in life. I need you to go to Amazon, and I need you to subscribe and save.
I am.
Okay?
I am.
Amazon is not our sponsor. Subscribe and save is not our sponsor, but it has changed my world. Like, I got dog food coming this week, too. I don't have to think about this stuff. They just ship it to me automatically. My laundry detergent, my dog food, my toilet paper, my paper towels.
I need to do that.
All of this stuff I don't have to, remember. And I get to go through Amazon and find the best priced one.
Right.
And that's what they sent me. My baby wipes, I don't use diapers anymore because she's potty trained now, but diapers were that way. Formula was that way. All of these things.
That's essentials. Those are essentials.
That I don't ever have to worry about it.
I'll do that because I'm always looking for a deal, but especially when these are things that you're going to use on a daily basis,
Toothpaste.
No matter what.
There's so many things. And then if you do enough items in there, so you do 5 items, you get 20% off of each one.
Oh, nice.
You know what 20% off formula looked like for us? I mean, it was like $25 off formula every month.
You can't beat that.
No.
That's huge.
So yes, you might be able to coupon clip and go to Publix or go to Walmart or whatever and get your Charmin a little bit cheaper for that particular purchase, maybe. But after you add your 20% for all of these items and it comes right to your door and you don't have to leave,
can't beat that.
No, and you know what? You wouldn't be at toilet paper right now.
That's right. I would be laying in it.
Yeah, or dog food. Everyone's like, oh my god, the PetSmart are only letting 2 people in at a time, and I'm like, oh, my dog food will be here on Thursday.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's just a different world right now, and the problem is we don't have an end date.
No,
we don't know when this is going to end.
Yes.
Things are ever changing. It's like, what's up? Or the breaking news. It's like, what now?
What now? What happened?
Yeah.
And it really upsetting to me is I do see people post so much negative stuff, so, especially with this school stuff that starts tomorrow, virtual school, what are we supposed to do, and blah, blah, blah. It hasn't even started.
Right.
Okay? Give them a chance. Goodness, you're expecting something to fail that hasn't started. This has never happened before. Do you think the school district, the teachers, these poor teachers, any of these people, they're just doing the best they can. What would you like them to do?
Right.
Bring your kids back to school? Because that's not an option right now. Like, everyone's just doing the best they can. Just sit back for a second and just be thankful.
Can you imagine if I ran a virtual school? Like, what that entails?
Well, it really depends. Hold on. If Kim's running virtual school as regular Kim,
yeah,
that thing is ship shape. Like, that thing is got a schedule.
True.
That thing is like, okay, kids, it's 10:14 in 37 seconds. Close your book, because now Miss Kim says we're gonna go do this. Hold on now. Miss Kim hits the Tito's.
Shit. Recess all day, every day.
No, Kim got some kind of thing. They're making something. They're making something she gonna sell. She gonna have a sweatshop by the end of the day.
You darn, we're making coconuts. Or I would get old Coke cans. I don't know. Somehow we would make stuff out of not pineapples, pine cones. Remember my pine? Do you remember my pine cone? My pine cone like time frame.
For feeders and things like that. Girl.
And I was selling them on eBay.
You were not.
Yes, I was. That's John and Joanne and James. We went to hunting camp up in Georgia.
Oh, I do remember that. You brought them home.
I brought them home, and they were huge, and I was selling them on eBay. But it was
Did you make any money?
Not much. But I had to bubble wrap them because they break very easily. So I could totally go.
That's
get some
what you would have.
cones.
You would totally have these kids in sweatshops
all day.
I saw on Day Drinking Mom, someone posted, if I have my kids mix my cocktails, does that count as a chemistry lesson?
Absolutely. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
That was awesome.
That would be fun.
But yeah, so this corona's affecting a lot of stuff. We were actually supposed to be at a wedding yesterday.
That's right.
Great friends of ours were getting married, and I can't imagine that happening to our weddings, like, having to postpone for something so like I got married in September, and so we were concerned about hurricanes, obviously, but that is something that, like, okay, if a hurricane was coming, we could still do something at some point after that, you know, like, this is really tough. And we did. A hurricane came through 2 weeks before my wedding, and it was a date that we wanted for the wedding date, but somebody else had already booked it, so we had to do it 2 weeks later, thankfully, because it went straight through Tallahassee.
Right. Yeah. That's right.
So let's talk. I think we should talk about, since we couldn't talk about her wedding.
Yes.
Let's talk about ours.
Our wedding. So, first of all, we've kind of alluded to this on a few of our other podcasts as to, like, when we did our, like, Q&As. If you go back to listen to episode 2, Crazy Kim, then you go back to listen to episode 3 with Tricia, Get to Know Tricia.
Yeah, Tricia likes a taco or something like that.
Yeah, you'll get to kind of see a little bit of an insight as to how we started dating our husbands or things of that nature, but to kind of, like, go back to that, but a little bit more in depth.
Right.
So, James and I went to high school together. We all went to high school with James.
Yes.
So we kind of, James and I, as far as in the redneck perspective, we all ran in that circle. Right. But James and I never hung out one-on-one. We just knew of each other.
James and I hung out one-on-one.
Yeah, okay, you and James.
Because we're from Hopestown.
You're from Hopestown.
So we're like, that's why I would say, and I don't mean James and I hung out one-on-one. Like, I don't mean it like that. I meant, like, we would be in a group of 5, and he was in my group of 5 of people that hung out. No, let me make this record.
That's okay.
I never dated James Prescott.
That's all right. Yeah, you never know. Hope sounds small. But he always had a girlfriend. Like, he was pretty serious. I think he had, like, 2 girlfriends in his high school years. So he was always on lockdown. And that's the kind of man he is. He's on lockdown, and that's what he is. Me, on the other hand, I had a weekend boyfriend and a weekday boyfriend, and, whatever. I just still, couldn't figure life out then.
Well, no, and then your paths weren't supposed to cross then.
Correct. I always thought he was a cutie, though. I'll be honest with you. I thought I had a little crush on him. I mean, he was like the redneck boy, and I knew that he drove the tractor, and so he just kind of fit the image of what I wanted, or I think, So I always did think about him. And then our best friends at the time, fast forward about good 15 years, our best friends were dating. And we had kind of reconnected. And so these guys would date, and all of us, right? Because we were all hanging out in the same circle. And so they were dating, and so we would see James. Not on a regular basis, but maybe once or twice a month, I would say.
Right.
Because he was working a lot, so we would probably see Rob, but not nearly as much as see James, because he was always working.
He'd show always up at parties.
At parties.
Someone's party. Like, it was, I remember, like, John's 30th birthday, and he was there. It was like he'd always show up at bigger events because he was doing something.
Right, exactly. So what's funny is that you and Stacy, I remember, said to me one day when we were hanging out, "Have you seen James lately?"
Because Stacy and I had gone out, we went to the Nut.
Right,
and
because
we
of
ran
the seafood fest.
I don't even know. It wasn't even that. We had just been out. Like, Stacy lived close to there, and so we would do the Salerno, like, area to go out, whatever, right? And so we had gone out, and we probably, who knows, twisted, manatee. It ended up at Coconut.
It was a seafood fest.
It was not seafood fest, because it's definitely not that crowded.
Okay.
And we went in there, and James was there by himself, sitting at the end of the bar. It was like, oh my God, James lost like 150 pounds. Like, it was insane. It was almost unrecognizable. Like, it was James, like, recognizable, but I mean, like, he looked a lot more like his brother, and that's like, man, it's crazy,
Yeah.
And he was so excited to see us, we buy you girls a beer, and so we talked and hung out, and then, like, we called you, like, the next day, like, girl, you see this guy?
Because I remember him, we all knew him as being the big guy. Mm-hmm. I mean, in high school he wasn't, but then he kind of, blew up from there. And then when you guys told me that, I was like, huh. Now, granted, I was single, I was divorced, I was kind of like playing, doing whatever I was doing, but living life. So I looked him up on Facebook. I was like, I gotta see these girls, what they say. Say Facebook! You always gotta go to Facebook. So I Googled him, found him. I was like, so I friend requested him, because that's what you do.
Yep. Stalked him.
I stalked him. I mean, he's not a big poster. Now I know he watches Facebook. He's a video, but he's not a big poster. But him and his tractor, and I'm like, God, he looks so skinny. So I had...
You was in your skinny stage.
I was in my skinny stage, too. I'm like, oh, look at us, two fatties, the skinnies getting together.
Not that you guys are big now. I just mean, like, you both were on, like, that. Like, you guys had, like, yes.
And we had actually did the same diet. The HCG, and he was doing the shots, and I did the drop. So it's just kind of funny that we didn't know that, and that's what we were doing to lose weight. So there was a photo or one of those meme cards about a canoe. Like, if your friends jumped off of a canoe, would you jump off? It was a silly Facebook post that I put. James commented on it, and then we just kind of were bantering back and forth, and I think Stacy might have said something, and so we always refer back to that photo because that was the start of it. Because I posted it, he commented. Because I wasn't reaching out to him, but when he commented. So then somehow from there, either I messaged him or he messaged me, and I said, hey, let's have a drink. Let's have a cocktail or something. So we ended up meeting up at Stacy's house one night, and they were all coupled up, and him and I were not. He's like, all right. He's like, you want to go have a drink at the bar? I'm like, yeah, let's get out of here. So I left my car. We went to Scooters, and that's all she wrote. And then from there, it was just like, this is the coolest guy ever. Just having a conversation with him, and just like, I really was looking for a life partner, not even in that moment, but I felt like I was looking for like a best friend. Like, I didn't want, not necessarily not a husband, but I wanted someone who enjoyed the things that I liked.
Right.
Like the foal wheeling, the camping, the hunting. Like, I wanted just that camaraderie of a partner and a best friend. That was what was important to me at that time. Mm-hmm. So things just kind of evolved, and then so that was on a Friday night. Okay. So literally, I left Saturday morning early to go to South Beach.
Yes.
And then on Sunday is when you and Jason.
Yes. So it's just like Jason went, well, we didn't go to school together. We went to the same schools, but I, robbed the cradle.
You robbed the cradle. Like, he's like 10 years younger than you, right?
He's 10 years younger than me.
Is it 8?
No!
Is it 5?
It's like 3.5.
Oh, I always thought it was 8. I really did.
No, he was born in 83. I was born in 79.
Oh, God, I thought it was like
3.5. Yes. It just so happens.
He just acts so mature for his age.
He does. And anyway, it just so happens we didn't go to school with him. It's like my birthday.
Because he was in preschool when you were in middle school. No, I'm just joking. I had to
Shut up, Kim. We didn't go to high school together because my birthday's in August, so I was a very young freshman, like when I started. By the time I graduated high school, I didn't start college, so I was still 17 when I started college because I was so young with my birthday. Well, Jason's birthday is in March, so he's an older, so it just didn't work out. Like, he still was where, like, he should be, so we never were freshman and senior, and that wouldn't have worked anyway. However, as you know, Jason's cousin...
It would have worked for him, because that would have been totally cool.
I wouldn't even have looked twice. I was that girl, okay?
I know. Most girls don't.
No way.
I told Taylor to get with the young ones, because you can train them.
Exactly. Well, they're so stupid in high school, but yeah, no way. Anyway, so, but his cousin Stuart is one of my best friends. And Jason doesn't have any brothers.
Right.
Like, he has 2 sisters, and him and Stuart are super close, like brothers, you know? And so I always knew who Jason was, like his cousin Jason. And then when Jason fell, he couldn't drink for like 6 months after he had that accident. And I remember he came to your house.
That's right.
And we clearly were out of beer. And
he drove a Mustang.
He did. And I just remember, like, Stuart was like, no, we'll go. And you and I were like, I don't know. We were so responsible. We were like, I don't know that we should be driving.
Right. But we'll get in some random guy's car in the back seat.
It's like, no, it's fine. My cousin can't drink right now. And we're like, okay, cool. We did. We got the back of his Mustang. And
I remember that.
It still didn't cross my mind, you know. And had gone out for Stuart's 40th birthday with him, and Jason was there, but. Like, again, I left, like, as soon as he got there, like, I left, and not on purpose, but anyway, so on the boat, and we ran into each other there, and it was kind of just like since we knew each other enough, the conversation was easy enough, like, oh, hey, yeah, how's it going, you know, oh, how are you, oh, okay, and we just kind of filled in the gaps of things we didn't know, like, we both thought that the other was not single,
right,
and that was incorrect.
Right.
And so it was like, okay, cool. Okay, I'll see you later. We didn't exchange phone numbers or nothing, you know, or anything. And all of a sudden, like, he did pop up. I don't know, did I look for him on Facebook or he looked for me? I'm not sure, but we ended up that way, right? And then on Instagram, so stupid. And he had
the gram.
He had a picture of, like, food or something, like lobster and steak. I was like, oh, that looks really good. I'm such a foodie. And he was like, oh, yeah, me too. He's like, come over. I'll make you dinner. I was like, okay, I'll bring the wine.
You're like, I'm getting in the car right now.
Like, so that was, like, on a Sunday. But we did, like, so it was, like, one of those things, like, oh, and we kept, like, talking back and forth on Instagram with me. He's like, you know what? Let me make this easier. And he sent me his phone number. So we started texting. And that Monday, he went to Hurricanes to watch basketball, and he's like, oh, do you want to come up? I'm like, yeah, you know, and it was like all these things, like, God, I hope he invites me. God, I hope he invites me, and he, like, would or whatever. So, like, that whole week, like, we had met up on Monday, Wednesday, we were both at Sunfest with different people. We met up and said hi, and that Friday is when he made me dinner. And that's it. I don't think we had spent, like, a day apart, except for, like, a couple times in the last 6 years, like, maybe here or there that we've spent apart.
Right.
But, yeah, so it was...
I remember that because I came back from South Beach. And James was like, hey, what are you doing? I said, oh, I'm just getting back. He goes, come to Sandspur, park your car, and I'll pick you up on the boat. So we went out on the boat, and then we hung out with you guys. Yeah. You, Christine, and Jason. So it's just funny how that weekend was the weekend James and I hung out. It was like the same weekend you and Jason like reunited,
like really,
right?
Like,
so it just kind of like was almost literally
and it was
at the
in
same
a really
time.
Weird spot. Like I had never been to Slimy Crab Island on the boat before. Like I always went to Sandbar. Mm-hmm. And so the fact that, like, that's where I was. And Jason came over with his sister, and they came over to see, like, Christine and Sheena.
Gotcha.
Sheena was there. So that's who they came to see. And so that's the only reason why I was there. But, yeah. So that was, when I met my honey.
Isn't that so funny?
Mm-hmm.
And then fast forward. So then I mean... stuck with James. When I say stuck, I'm still stuck with him.
When did you move in with James? How long was it when you moved in with James?
Well, I had a lease up. I had an apartment, so James was quick about wanting me to move in. Yeah. I was not, because we
met in April. So we met the guys in April. Like,
yeah.
Jason and I use May 1st as, like, our official, like, start dating date. Like, because we met, like, towards the end of April, so we just go with May 1st.
Yeah. So I want to say, I think it was, he wanted me to move in quickly, and I just wasn't ready for it. Just because it was just so new, and it was almost surreal that this was actually happening.
It doesn't exist.
This doesn't exist.
Nice.
No. Mm-hmm. And so I think I moved in, I want to say November. So it was within 6 months.
I think
it was quick.
Was in November. Yeah.
Yeah, it was quick. And then, just from there, and then James proposed to me, which was so funny because, first of all, I knew he was doing it. I knew that he was out buying a ring.
Right.
Because he's such the most honest man I've ever met. Like, he cannot tell a secret or a lie. You can't tell him a secret because he'll tell you.
Yeah.
And he can't lie. And he had taken Taylor with him. So at that point, it was just inevitable. We didn't know when it was going to happen. Girl, do you know when it happened? So we had went trick-or-treating. First of all, I hate Halloween. It's my worst holiday ever, and I say that because it just scares me. I'm a sissy girl. Like, I don't like dressing up. Growing up in a very religious home, I was not allowed to celebrate Halloween. Okay. It was like Fall Fest is what we could go to.
Right.
I was strawberry shortcake once, okay? So Halloween just is not my holiday. It scares me. So we had taken Taylor trick-or-treating at another neighborhood with a couple of friends. So that night, James got on one knee on our porch.
Aww.
Which is, like, so funny because Halloween is just not my holiday.
And now it's associated with your happy bliss for the rest of your life.
I know. And I'm like, why couldn't you wait one more day? Why Halloween? He was like, it was close to midnight. I'm like, yeah, it's true. But it was just funny how then the next day I'm like, oh, I got engaged. Everybody's like, you got engaged on Halloween. I'm like, I know, it's the weirdest thing ever. So now I have to say it turned a holiday that it's not really a holiday to me. It turned a time into something different for me, right? So I don't have to celebrate Halloween. I get to celebrate my engagement.
Exactly.
So I prefer it that way rather than, a Christmas or a Valentine's Day, which is generic, but it's still okay, or your birthdays.
Right.
I mean, there's no right time to get engaged, for sure. It's just whatever time that person feels right.
Yeah, we moved in, so by December, I had my house and Jason had his house, and we were together every single day, like one of our houses, and it was logistically becoming kind of a mess.
Right.
He had a dog, I had a dog, I had Gavin, obviously when Gavin was with me, we always stayed in my house,
right?
Because that's
Made
Gavin's
sense.
room and all of his stuff. And on the weekends, though, we'd go and spend the night, and we'd set a room up for Gavin at Jason's house, but it still wasn't his space. We had a mattress on the floor. I mean, Jason's a bachelor, had he always jokes. He says when it was time to move in, he's like, "This works out perfect. I have 2 rooms that don't have any furniture in it. You have 2 rooms full of furniture."
Perfect.
And he's not logical in that sense, how I would be,
Right.
So, but yeah, so we moved in in December and rented out my house. We moved into his house because my neighborhood doesn't allow pickup trucks.
That's right.
And so that was a hot mess. I would have to park him, or he would park him. He would park at Publix, and then we'd drive into my neighborhood, and then in the mornings, I'd drop him off at Publix and take Gavin to the bus stop and then go back home. It was so ridiculous. So that was not going to work long term.
Right.
That's why we moved into his house. But, and then, I would say that is not a surprise that he proposed to me. It was a surprise on how it happened and when it happened somewhat, because he asked my ring size, and he did ask me to send him some things of what I do, styles I like.
Right.
And I do appreciate this because it is something I have to wear forever. And so but he got to choose whatever he wanted. He did a beautiful job on the ring, but, it was getting to the point where, we had our money was combined in the same accounts. We had already bought investment properties and flipped them and had money. A lot of our life was we were already living a married life, essentially. And, some point I was like, well, he better proud, And we were going to the Dolphins game. And I was like, I think this is going to be it. He even opened the safe before we left, right? And I was like, oh, my God. I had painted my fingernails. Remember I told you, I think the last time I purposely painted my fingernails. And he didn't propose. And I was like, oh.
Was that a letdown? Were you upset?
I was a little bit. And I was like, Tricia, you cannot be upset by this.
Expectations.
This man loves you. What difference does it make? And then we had a Keys trip planned. And somebody at work's like, he's going to propose. I was like, we better, And it was day 1, nothing. Day 2, nothing. 3, 4, 5, nothing. And I was like, you know what, Tricia, stop. You're ruining your trip.
That's right. Because we always put expectations on
right. And so then there was this beautiful spot on the property we were staying at. And Jason, I had this camera. And Gavin's like, oh, I want to use the camera. I'm like, I want to take up photography. And so the whole trip he's been using this camera to take up photography. And so we're taking pictures, and Gavin's like, all right, I'll take y'all's picture. I'm like, okay. And Gavin's like, I don't know, it's not working. The camera's not working. And so I turned to Gavin, all right, just hold the thing. And he's like, okay. And then I feel Jason touch the back of my leg, from below. And I was like, oh my, this is it. Oh my God, this is it. It was yeah. And so it was awesome because we have these beautiful, Gavin took beautiful photos. The camera worked fine.
Right.
Of this moment that we shared. And then Jason's dad comes pulling up on the golf cart. And he's on the phone, and he's on the phone with Jason's mom, and he's like, Dad, and he's like, what? And he's like, I just want you to, say hello to your, future daughter-in-law, to my new fiance. And his dad, he's crying. He's like, I gotta go. Because I guess I found out later is that both of our mothers knew.
Gotcha.
But he didn't tell his dad, because his dad would have been like,
oh.
He probably did he ask you? He was so excited.
Right.
And he asked Gavin first.
Nice.
If he could marry me.
That's how it should be.
And then he asked my mom.
That's how it should be.
So.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So he did a great job, you know. So, and he did say afterwards that he had planned on proposing at that Dolphins game, but, because both of our families had gone. But it was raining, and he was afraid that with the rain, he didn't want anything to happen to the ring or trying to get through security or anything. So he didn't. He put it back in the safe.
Ah, so he was thinking about it.
Yeah, and he said he knew I knew too.
That's plan one.
He said he knew I thought it was going to happen. That's why he put it back.
Oh, what a little turd!
Yep,
he's trying to surprise you.
Yeah, and on vacation, I was like, when we pulled up at this place, I was like, there's no safe. He's putting this in. Where is this ring? This ring, I assume, is a nice ring, right? Is he just leaving it in his truck?
Right. That'd be something James would do.
Oh God, yeah. So that was our engagement.
Aw.
And then we had planned, we wanted to have a short engagement, and then get married. And we had originally, we didn't know where we wanted to get married. And you start looking, weddings are so expensive. And we looked at some country clubs around town, and we had narrowed it down to 2 here, Jupiter Beach Resort or Harbor Ridge. And then I was like, I really would love to be married in a stadium. It's very cool, and so I looked around, and you can do it at like Roger Dean, and I looked up at Doak Campbell, and I contacted the people. Roger Dean just couldn't get it together and give me anything. Doak Campbell emailed me back, yes, we can definitely do this, you can get married here, Florida State. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So we wanted to get married Memorial Day weekend because it's 3 days. We got people that drive 5 hours,
Right.
We went up there, and they're doing a major overhaul of the stadium. The boosters are of the area where we're gonna get married, but you can get married in the ballroom. I was like, I can get married in the ballroom at home. I don't want
people
this,
drive 5 hours to get married in a ballroom.
Yeah,
right.
doesn't make any sense. I was like, no. And they're like, okay, well, it has to be done by the time football season starts, so it would be done by whatever first game in September. But at that point, you can't pick a date, because it has to be on an off weekend in the stadium. Florida State cannot be playing that weekend. You could get married on a Sunday because they play on Saturday, or you can get married on Friday. But where are guests going to stay? There's no hotels on game weekends.
Right.
So I was like, they're expensive. I'm not doing that to people coming into town. So it has to be on an off weekend. So you can't book your date until the football schedule comes out. So then we wanted to book it, like I said, it was going to be Labor Day weekend, and that's when we wanted to book it, and somebody else already booked it. We're like, fine, whatever. And that's when a hurricane came through up there. Thankfully, we hadn't booked it.
Right.
But, so we did it. I thought it was a fantastic time, if I had, we want to have another party there on our 10-year.
I thought it was awesome. Just the background itself was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I love the tater tot bar.
I know.
That was my best. That was the first thing I said when I got on the microphone. And it's funny because I know that me and your sister both did a speech.
Right, because I had a maid of honor and a matron of honor.
Mm-hmm.
So I got married to Jason before you married James.
Right.
And so you were my maid of honor, and Kim was my matron of honor because she was married.
Right.
It was my way of justifying why I had to.
Right. I kind of figured that much. But you
guys are so important to me. Both of you are so important to me, and I didn't, so. Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, I remember when I wrote my speech, you had to look at it first, because, me, I could go a little rogue. And I did go rogue.
You did.
I did. I totally went off script. But I think I stayed good.
Mm-hmm.
I'd had a couple cocktails, but I remember the first thing getting the microphone.
It's very nerve-wracking, right?
It was nerve-wracking, but I'm like, I'm going to own this bitch. I'm at FSU. I'm in the stadium, and I got a wedding here. I'm going to rock it. So the first thing I said was, shout out to the Tater Tot Bar. Woohoo! And everybody put up the glass.
That's it. Well, I wanted the food to feel more like stadium food. We're in a stadium.
Well, that was a great concept.
Let's not, there's nothing that needs to be fancy about this. There shouldn't be. It doesn't vibe well.
Right.
Our wedding invitations were tickets, and you tore off the stub and mailed the stub back in as the response ticket. We had, our program was literally like a football program where the players of our wedding party, their pictures and names. And it's just the theme and the vibe I wanted to go with. And so I thought, well, this is perfect. And they had these options. So you go for your food tasting, and you can bring 4 people, us and 2 other people. And I'm thinking, well, nobody wants to go to Tallahassee for the weekend to do a food tasting. But we have really great friends, Steph and Luke, that live in Tallahassee. So excited that they would get to come with us. And they just keep bringing all these options out to our table. And Luke was like, I wanted to keep eating the tater tots, but I don't want to be rude and not share them with everybody. That's how we did the tater tot bar. Was going to be a hit. Because Luke was like, they were so good, but I didn't want to keep eating all of them, Yeah,
you can't go wrong with tater tots.
No, and so that's how we did, they were food stations, and that's kind of where I wanted. And then at the end of the night, as people were being boozed up, we brought out mini sliders with French fries, and then chicken and waffles.
That's right.
So kind of sober people up, or because you eat early, and you're like, oh, you're sane, you're sober and sane. You're like, oh, this is good, and then you keep drinking, and you're like, oh, I'm starving. So we did that, and honestly, price wise, was much cheaper than any place we could have chosen down here to do it. Yeah. Overall, I mean, it was still very expensive because it doesn't matter what you do. Weddings are expensive. Well worth it. I mean, I would do that day and everything to it over and over again if
asked me. Do you remember when I ordered my bridesmaid dress and I told him I wanted it? What I say? A size 4?
Yes, and then so first of all,
I was a size 16
well,
at the time.
The bridesmaid dresses themselves were like bad sizing, okay? Like they were terrible sizing because you used the same place that I used, right? And so for your wedding, I was like, I need a bigger size because I was pretty sure I was going to be pregnant by that time.
Right.
And so thankfully I chose a bigger size because their size terribly.
Totally off.
Like, I'm a size, like, at that time, like, in real life clothes, was a size 4. I ordered an 8 in the dress for your wedding. Mm-hmm. Thank God. Because I was the only person whose dress didn't have a problem trying to put it on.
That's right.
Like,
that's right. Well, I remember when we went and did the dress fittings for yours, or we got to pick out our dresses, I was like a size, I say 16. I was probably a 14. And I said, I got to the register and I said, I want a size 4. And
you said, I got goals.
The lady looked at me and she's like you could tell. I think we only had 6 months. Like, I was supposed to go from a size 14 to a 4.
To a 4, which is in that size, it's like a 0. Because that was their
negative 0,
yes.
right? And I was like, and you looked like you looked at me.
I was like, Kim, you do whatever you want. But...
I'm like, I got goals. And everybody at the wedding party was like, this girl is crazy. What is she doing? I think I called back because I think I called and I think I got a 10. I did get a 10.
Did you really order the 4?
I did order the 4.
Shut the front door.
And I had a real buyer's remorse moment.
God.
I laughed and I was like, girl, let's be realistic. You could starve yourself for 6 months and not go from a 12 to a 4.
No.
Because there's just, because they couldn't even put the size 14 on me. They, like, clipped it in the back.
That's
like,
what I'm saying, because their sizes were wrong. Their sizes were wrong,
Because they're made in China.
Yeah.
And China. And the smaller people.
And on my wedding dress, they had me order up a size. And I was like, well, I just tried on this size. Why would I not order that size? And she said, because this one's been tried on a lot, stretched out. Thank God.
I know, right? Wedding dress sizes are just they
were definitely awful. I'm thinking they should go the other way. This is the day you're supposed to feel the most like I should have put my wedding dress on. It should have been I'm a 0 on my wedding day. You know,
I didn't think I was going to fit in my wedding dress.
Well, you didn't think you were going to fit in or you did my bridesmaid dress. Remember, because you were like, Tricia, I don't know what to do, and I said, Kim, whatever you got to do. I said, wear a shawl, wear a sweater. I don't care.
I bought every Spanx from West Palm Beach to Vero. I kid you not. Ordered them online. I had every size. I didn't know that they make full body Spanx, half Spanx, chest Spanx. They make them in all different shapes. I must have $40,000 worth of Spanx in my house.
You said you and James are putting.
One of them has a slit in for so you can go to the restroom. Because once you take off your Spanx,
it's good luck getting it back on.
So it had the slit. I'm like, hallelujah! I ended up going with that pair. But I'll tell you what. As soon as I got in the car when we left the wedding, I couldn't get my Spanx off fast enough. Because I was purple in some areas, but it did. It zipped right up. But then for my wedding, same thing. Like I was just praying and crossing my fingers and just it did it. You're beautiful. It fit. Yeah, it did fit. I had it altered. So which was I think I think that worked out to having it altered because the one thing is that it wasn't my boobs were not big enough to fit in there. So I kept having to get that
gotcha
that in. But yeah, you need to go into a 4-week. Month bender not eating, that's what will happen to you. But I think your wedding was beautiful. It definitely was something that I had to. Then I came in like 6 months later, and I'm like, well, how the hell am I going to top FSU?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we're going to throw a big old shindig, and how all of that transformed was insane. Never planned for the bonfire. Never planned for it to be the coldest night of the year.
It was freezing.
It went from literally we wanted it to be in January,
right?
Because we were both hot boxes, so we wanted it to be
farming
cold.
Season.
Yeah, so it kind of worked out. And I remember James and we were gonna have a long engagement. Like it wasn't of any importance to do it fairly quick. And then we were just toying back and forth one day with text messaging of dates, and I was like, I've got to pick a date that he'll remember, something that he can never forget. So he said, what about 1717? I was like, score, because 7's my lucky number.
There you go.
It's in January. Just made sense. So that's kind of how it came to be. But it turned up being the coldest night. If we would have known it was going to be that cold, we would have had heaters come in because it was
definitely chilly.
It turned. And it rained a little bit. So because of the rain, we were unable to do James and Taylor didn't get to do their dance because of the rain. It was the way that it was coming in. So there was a few things that didn't get done because of it. But overall, it definitely
perfect. You had the best flowers I've ever seen.
And I know, and we brought some of them to an old folks home, nursing home afterwards, because they were just too beautiful.
They're gorgeous.
Yeah, they were too beautiful to throw away. We had so much booze left over. You know, you overcompensate on how much booze you're going to have. Cause
terrible problem. You just take it home with you because you had to provide it.
Well, James and I, we had stocked the bar party like a year before the wedding, and it was like we kept replenishing Tito's because we kept drinking it. You know, like, gosh, it's insane. But, you know, it definitely turned out. But I do remember you put a DJ in my ear, I'd dance. So James tells a story so funny because at one point I must have just realized, like, I was still dancing, and we had booked the DJ. My most thing was that we booked him for 4 hours, but I said, anything over that, can I just throw you some cash?
Right.
And she's like, yes, Kim, don't worry. I'm like, I don't know what the noise ordinance out there in Jupiter Farms is, but, you know. So I had my money on hand. I didn't care about anything else tipping out anybody. I had in my brassiere a couple hundreds to throw at the DJ, because once you put a DJ in my ear and I've had a couple cocktails, I become the dancing queen, right? I own the dance floor. At one point, I think I was the only one on the dance floor. And James said to me, Kim, you ready to go? And I'm like, where's my wedding? Like, where is everybody? They were out at the fire.
Yes.
He's like, and then I remember him walking me to the fire, because that's when we did the sparklers. I'm like, oh, there's another wedding going on. Like, he's like, you were dancing? My grandmother's like, I think you fell. And I'm like, that was the purpose. Yeah. But I remember just being out there looking around like, where is everybody? You know? So
everyone did go out there. We left a little bit earlier than that, though, because it did turn out I was pregnant.
Yes.
Did not know I was pregnant.
That's right.
So, because we had gotten pregnant and I miscarried before that, and then I was pregnant at your wedding, but didn't know.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. I remember that.
It was a good time. I thought your wedding was a great time.
Yeah, it was a good. Well, yeah, we partied. I mean, it was definitely, it was definitely a big party.
So, okay, so our wedding song is Jim Croce, "Time in a Bottle." Okay, so we had been. God, like, there's some things that are hard to pick, right? Kids' names, this wedding song was a hard one. So we used to create like a Spotify playlist, and we would put what we liked in there as contenders. And we happened to go to North Carolina on vacation. Like, we got married in September. We were on vacation like in June. And so we don't have any reception. So all we can listen to are like the 12 songs we put in our list. I think my mom and Gavin were like done with listening to this. Anyway. But we had, on the flight up to North Carolina, we had watched Quentin Tarantino movie, the one, the Cowboys, Jenga.
Okay,
Jenga, is that what it was? Anyway, and it had a Jim Croce song in there, and it's just, he has this 1970s, 80s vibe to me. I think he must have been popular at that time, and my parents must have listened. So I just remember, it brings back a nostalgia of happiness to me, just the sound of the music itself, and it's awesome. And so we went and looked, and so we found "Time in a Bottle," and it really just resonated with, you know, like, we both lived on different paths, and, you know, finally in our lives came together, and just doesn't seem to be enough time for us,
right?
You know, so it was perfect. So I remember Gavin tells me the story that we go to dance, and he's standing next to my sister Lauren, and the song starts to play, and Lauren says, "Oh, I'm gonna cry."
Oh,
you know, like, so, and then Jason's dad was gonna do our prayer, you know, for dinner, and he came up, and it's so sweet. He couldn't speak. He's crying, and he just couldn't do it. He said, "I'm really sorry. Emotions are high." So that's like a running joke in our family now. Like, "Oh, sorry, guys. Emotions are high." You know.
And I could have done the prayer.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Probably not. Probably not.
So I mean, like, those little things. Like, forget the cool parts of it. You know, my friend Stefan officiated our wedding. Especially since we weren't going to be married in town, it wasn't going to be our pastor. I was like, I can't just have somebody I don't know.
Right.
And so I asked Stefan, and typically you could have a notary can marry you. Well, Stefan doesn't live in the state of Florida, so he can't be a notary in the state of Florida, so he couldn't marry us. So he had to go get ordained. So he is now an ordained minister. And, you know, he did it perfectly. I think he
nailed it.
He definitely nailed it. And I think it just becomes even a better connection for us and him.
Right.
You know.
Absolutely.
So
I remember trying to do our song.
That's what I was leading up to. Your dance song now. So mine has this nostalgic and this feeling. Now, Kim, tell us about your dance.
So James and I really wanted to do a mashup, is what it's called. And so we really wanted to pick songs that told a story about who we are and our love and just us as people, right? 'Cause again, it goes back to me marrying my best friend. Sometimes, majority of the time, I hate him, but 10% of the time, I love him. You know,
y'all just took your Spotify list and made one big
song. We probably should go back and listen to that today, just to bring us back to where we are.
To how much love you have
today. But same thing, like I had obsessions with silly songs, and so one of the biggest things is James' song there's two songs. There's Pony. Yeah. Which I have him on a TikTok video, which I'm going to publish fairly soon.
After he signs permission.
After he signs permission, yeah. He has to give us the permission for the podcast.
You get him on that Tito's and they get him to sign it.
Heck yeah. I'll give him a handle. I'll come over to the house with a handle bottle. And then there was R. Kelly, the Bump and Grind.
Yeah.
And the day we went out on the sandbar, the day we started dating, or so to speak, he was playing that song. And it's always been his running song. Like, that's his go-to song. And he starts dancing because for a white man,
he's a dancer.
He can dance.
He can jiving.
Well, he can jive, especially like on his forehead. Like he'll get his like he's like a tambourine, like a monkey. Like you get him and I up there, had a few cocktails. We've got it going on. Actually, one night he's like, we got to go dance, and I'm like, honey, I don't think the world's ready for our dancing because we'll get up there and we'll just put everybody to shame. Yeah. We've had some cocktails. So I said, let's do a mashup. Let's do something really fun. That's who we are, like our personalities. So we picked, a couple country songs. We were gonna come into Top Gun. It was like, I don't know. We were trying to work out the song Highway to the. We were trying to incorporate that, but we just couldn't. Highway to the Danger Zone kind of doesn't sound right for a wedding, but for us it probably would. But anyways, so the last song, the mashup, which we did like 30 seconds of each one, was I Don't See Nothing Wrong with a Little Bump and Grind. And that came on, and it just got the whole crowd like, oh my God. Hysterical.
It was only something that you and James could do.
Like, and he was like grinding on my leg. He was getting down. I was like, oh my God. So that was just like, and we kind of were keeping that under wraps.
Yeah.
We didn't really want anybody to know.
I knew.
You knew.
I knew.
It was hard.
Because everyone kept, the song would change, and then people were like, and they look over, I'm like, just wait for it.
Yeah. I wanted to do like with the sunglass, some people do like all those things. Yeah. And I think we picked like 6 songs, something that just, was something that captured us, but we wanted.
But it made sense for y'all, like it was definitely something for y'all.
There's a song Tim McGraw, which I still love this day. Tim McGraw and Faith Hill, "I Need You." Yeah, it's just such a beautiful song. I remember we didn't have that song, but that was a contender that almost made the cut. But it was like I need you like a needle needs a flame, or it was just something that didn't sound like I don't know, like the way we were cutting it. I'm like it made the cut because it just didn't sound right. But yeah, I mean, it definitely. I feel like the wedding was great. I think the money that we put into it. James wanted a beautiful big wedding because it was his first. Yeah. And hopefully only his last. Me, it was my second. I did it once. So, I would have been much rather gone to the courthouse and just saved the money. But, he wanted to do it. And every time, like, he was like a bridezilla. Like, he would go meet with the bridal planners. He's like, no, I want this. No, I'm like, well, we can do like the tent. He's like, no, we're gonna wrap them, like the tent, the way the shape. All of that was wrapped. All of that cost extra money. Like, I'm like, no. He's like, we cannot have bars exposing. I'm like, are you kidding me? And I did a lot of the meets, but then I would come back and give him the feedback because he was working all the time to make the money so we could pay for this big ass wedding. And he was like, no, I'm not gonna have that. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, and then he couldn't go to the cake tasting, but Taylor and I did. And I was like, well, this one and this one go well together. He's like, no, we're not. I don't think so. He was like such a closet bridezilla. It was so funny.
Yeah, like if people were so surprised, they kept asking me like, "Are you sure?" Like, because I was like, I just wanted to marry Jason. Right. I just wanted to marry Jason. I thought that regardless of where we were, what the decoration, we're in this beautiful stadium, and I'm marrying this amazing man. Like that's all I wanted, right? And so Jason's mom did all my flowers, and she was like, and she did my bouquet, and she's like, if there's anything you want to change, let me know. I'm like, no, it's fine. She's like, no, I think I gotta do this. I'm like, it's fine. Like, everything was fine to me. Like, I just didn't care so much about these little tiny details. I cared about tiny details that made the whole picture work well together, but they weren't crazy. I was just like, okay, well, if that's what you say, like, I did not want a wedding cake. Yeah. Jason was like, we have to have a cake. I'm like, we don't have a stupid cake. Nobody eats the cake.
That's right.
And it's expensive, and I don't want this stupid cake. And so he was like, we're getting a cake. I'm like, fine. So we went to Publix up there. They had like a whole like center there, like for planning. It's huge, Publix. And anyway, so I was like, all right. And so it was a beautiful cake, and I'm so glad we did a cake. It was simple. Right. I think our cake was $300. I've seen people with $6,000 to $8,000 cakes. I mean, if that's what's important to them, that's what's important to them. We did red velvet and carrot cake. and just did like cream cheese frosting.
Perfect.
And it was simple, just as simple as we were, you know.
Yeah, and then that's really what it's all about. I mean, there are certain like things that I wanted. Like I wanted the candy bar.
Yeah.
And which James didn't understand. I don't think he still understands why I wanted the candy bar. But I just thought that was just instead of having to worry about votives or doing little giveaways or stuff like that, I just wanted something that, because I knew it was going to be kids who were going to be there, and they definitely hit the candy bar. But there was just like that was like something. I did want the miniature ponies, and I wanted the the midgets that just didn't come to fruition.
No.
Kind of bummed out about that, but you know, it's that still worked out. I mean, you know, regardless, I just thought if I'm going to go and have this extravagant wedding, I'm going to come in style. You know what I mean? But it definitely was a beautiful wedding. I don't know if they're having weddings there anymore.
I don't know. We went by and we were on our way to a charity event on the same street, and I was like, oh, that's where Kim got married. And it was a Saturday. It was like a monsoon weekend, so maybe if somebody was getting married, it didn't go off that way.
Well, they don't promote it on I'm like, they probably, after my wedding, they're probably like, we're not letting any more of these crazy rednecks into this property anymore. No, I doubt that. But they only did like 6 a year.
Okay.
Only because they board the horses there, and they have a lot of competition horses. Like, I guess they just don't want. And it's a lot of work.
It is.
I mean, we didn't have bathrooms, so we had to bring in bathrooms, and then we had to bring in handicap stalls because you have to make sure, you know. And then I was like, there is no way I'm going to have these without AC.
Oh God, no.
You have to have, you know. So that was another thing.
Expense,
we rented a whole entire Cassidy ice chest to come out there because you don't want to run without ice. I mean, when you're having your
on site like that,
that doesn't have the amenities to facilitate that, there's a lot of extra cost that's associated with that, and that's where like the 10, and you know, I mean, I even wanted to do, which I think that fizzled out. I bought these candles to float in the pool.
Oh yeah, they weren't in there.
They were in there, but they were upside down.
Oh,
then I said pull them out because it looks crappy.
Right.
But I'm like, I spent I don't know God how much on those. You know, that was probably an expense that I shouldn't have had. You know? But you know, at the time, you just don't know. You just.
I was like, what do we do as favors? We did honey.
That's right.
Because Jason likes bees, and so we got honey, and I got the little mason jars, and I ordered stickers off of Etsy.
That's right. I remember that.
Gavin, Jason, and I had a system down. Like one would do the sticker, one would put it on, Jason would pour it. Like Gavin do the sticker, Jason would pour it. I'd put the lid back on, and it said, what did it say? Meant to be.
Meant to be.
Yeah. And our wedding date.
That's
and it was really cute. We ended up with none at the end of the day, and my sister had like 6 or 7, so she gave us a couple so that we would have some.
I never got a cupcake, and I never got a candy bar because I just, you know, I guess didn't dawn on me. I mean, I don't know. I just never, you know, like I barely ate. Like it's such a whirlwind.
It is.
It's the parts I can remember. I mean, granted, I had a couple cocktails too.
I didn't drink that much on purpose because I wanted to remember as much as possible about this day, and then we all went back to that level 8 bar in the hotel, and like I was just done. Like I was like bloated, and like I'm like everything. I was like, can we please, you know, just leave? And then so we did, and we went back to our room. But I would love to do it again. You know what I want to do is, so I still have my wedding dress. You still have yours?
I had it preserved in a box.
Oh, you did?
Can't have it and I did learn this from my first wedding dress. I did the same thing and put it in the attic. It turns yellow because so I have it in my closet where there's air in it. But I had it preserved. It was like $400, but it was
didn't do that.
Had it
Mine's
cleaned.
still in the bag. Hasn't been cleaned or anything. But I thought I was gonna have like a party. Like when I have my house done, it's gonna be you wear your wedding attire.
Oh shit! Like from when I got married, I better start losing. I gotta get on the treadmill. I'm gonna run home.
Because you only get to wear this beautiful dress for like 6-7 hours.
But you can give it to Reagan.
Reagan's not gonna want my dress.
Well, what I'm gonna do, because I still have the one at Joe's house in his attic. So there's that one, and then I have mine. So Taylor and I were talking about maybe pulling something from both of them and sewing it even if inside or something.
Yeah, no, that is fine. But yes, no, I'm gonna wear her mom's dress.
It will be vintage. It'll be come back in style. Everything comes back in 20 years later.
I thought it was a beautiful dress, but I don't know that she's gonna want it.
Right.
But at any rate, we can still have a party and still wear your dress and still keep it. I mean, you preserved yours now, so you might just go to like another store and buy a dress.
Well, you know, I had to because it was outside and it rained.
Yeah.
So mine got like the bottom of it was black. I was just like
mine's not clean.
Yeah, I was just like I want to clean that because my fear was the longer the stain sat on there, the longer it would sit. Yeah. So I took it. I think 4 or 5
very
days.
Expensive to have that thing clean.
Hell yeah, and it's expensive. The dress was expensive too. Remember, I went and bought my dress without you.
You buy with anybody.
I was just working one day. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to Alfred Angelo's down in Boca. Stopped in there. I was just like, they had just opened. It was like 11 o'clock. I was the only person in the store. They saw me.
You sent me a picture. You're like, here, I bought my dress. I was like, okay, it looks good.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Yeah, that was no big deal. Like, to me, I wish that I would. I get buyer's remorse, but I pull the trigger fairly. I don't like shopping, so I pull the trigger a little fast on that because I really didn't want to do strapless. I did probably pull the trigger too fast on that one, but yeah.
Well, I remember I bought mine, and I had a budget set for myself. I mean, like, these are my numbers for me, and it was over my budget that I had set. It still wasn't, like, I mean, like, I know people who spend a ton of money on dress. I mean, I think my dress was, like, $1,100 or something, you know? But I didn't want to spend more than, like, $800 because I'm, like, only wearing it one time, one day. You know me, I'm realistic.
Right.
And I was like, whatever, it's $1,200. I'm going to buy the dress. Well, I go to pay, and I realize I don't have my driver's license. Jason had my driver's license. And I'm like, are they going to allow me to spend $1,200 on my credit card without proof of ID, you know? Right. So I called Jason, and I was like, oh, I got to call Jason. And I don't know if someone's like, oh, you got to ask him if this is okay to spend that much money. I was like, I don't have to ask him if I can spend that much money ever.
No.
First of all, this is my dress, my credit card, like, my money. Like, no, I'm not. And I don't mean to, like Jason, like, if we're going to spend $1,200 today, you're not going to go put a new sound system in your truck without telling me. He, trusts me and knows that I'm not going to spend $12,000 on a dress.
Right.
And I don't think that's a discussion I need to call and ask him if I can spend another $400 on something I personally had set the budget for.
Right. Well, James and his highfalutin wedding he had to have, I feel like I didn't have a budget. Because you know what? We were wrapping the damn poles for, I don't know, $2,500, $3,000. If I want it, I'll spend whatever I want on a dress. And I think that's probably why I went by myself, because I was just doing it just to see, you know. And I mean, granted, I had to go back down there, and they went bankrupt, and I think David's Bridal is going bankrupt.
I don't know. There was a dress that I wanted, and I had seen it. I really, really wanted it. I'd seen it, like, online and seen it, like, somebody else had posted wearing it. And it was, like, $6,000.
That's tough. That's a tough trigger.
And Jason's like, you should just get it. And I was like, no. He's like, and it's only, like, in certain, like, in Orlando they had it. He's like, do you want to go up there and try it on? And I was like, no. Because I'm not buying that dress. Yeah. Like, I am not. He's like, but if you really, you should get. I mean, I am not buying that dress. Like, you need to understand that I will not buy that dress.
I would have bought the dress just to piss James off. I'm just joking. No, $6,000. Well, if I could rock $6,000 dress because I had a cute body, I'd probably do it. But then I would keep the tags and return it.
I don't think they take them back.
I don't think they do take wedding dresses.
No,
back.
And I was just like, I don't want to fall in love with something I can't have. Like, that's not fair to me either. And he's like, you just buy it. And I'm like, no.
And then to think that if you had bought it and you didn't preserve it, I would have kicked your ass for that. I'd have been like, what are you kidding me? Hold up, give me that dress.
So not only would Reagan have to wear that dress, every child I knew in the world would have to wear that dress.
Taylor would have to wear it. Like, we would be pimping that dress out.
Paige, Abby, you gotta wear this dress.
Sarah, you have to wear the dress. This is just how it is.
I had no idea how expensive wedding cleaning dresses was until Shannon got married, and Jason and I had only been dating like a month when they got married, and so we had gotten a room at Pirate's Loft, and we had gone by boat to Mike and Shannon's wedding and boat back, and Shannon had changed from her wedding dress into like another dress for her reception. So I'm cleaning up and leaving, and we ended up with Shannon's wedding dress. Like, it's very bizarre. Like, her wedding dress in our hotel room. Like, it seemed kind of weird in the morning, right? Anyway, so we had it, and Jason went on their honeymoon cruise with them with a couple other people. I didn't go. We had only been dating a month. Like, you know, anyway. And I was like, oh, well, I'll get this dress clean for her so that we can give it to her she wants to do with it. And they wanted, like, $300 to clean the dress. And I was like, you know what? I said, and I was like, I was not paying for that. Jason would have to pay for it. I told the cleaner, I was like, you know what? I can't make that decision. Like, he'll have to decide if he wants to do this. Like, and it was a nice gesture to do for his sister. Like, you know, and I when he got home or I had talked to him on the phone, I was like, hey, listen, it's expensive. Like, he's like, yeah, no, don't do that. We told Shannon, she's like, oh my God, I didn't pay that much for the dress.
Well, that's the way. I mean, I did it just because I wanted it to be, because it was dirty.
Right.
And I mean, I spent a lot of money on the dress, and I kind of felt like maybe I would, because me always trying to resell or try to, you know, hustle. I'm thinking I could resell this thing, maybe not for what all I paid for it, but for something. So, and they do like put it like in a mannequin, like a
like
they
a
outfit it, bustier thing.
Like
yeah. But so I mean, So it makes sense sometimes, but yeah, it's not cheap. That's for sure.
I think my dress is at my mom's now. When I move, I'm gonna put that rig on and I'm gonna send you a picture.
You should, yeah. I'll put mine on, but just not from the back. because I can wear it from the front.
But you can't take it off of that thing.
Like, I'll have James put like bungee clamps on me, and I'm like, baby, fix me up. We're gonna have a date night.
We're looking. You got about 7 months until my house hopefully is done. So you got 7 months to fit in that dress.
7
That's
months.
your goal.
Oh my God, I'm gonna start running now.
That's
like
it.
literally home. I'll tell James to drive me back to get the Jeep.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening. We really appreciate it. We know there's a lot going on in the world, and we hope that maybe a little bit of our talk can distract you from
and brighten up your day. And don't forget, we do have Day Drinking Moms, which the group is blowing up. Every day we get more and more gals in there, and it's always just a fun time.
It's hilarious.
I mean, it's hilarious. I mean, I think I've had a few people just message me. We love this group. It's just it's fun, and we're just, no judge zone. It's a good time. So be on the lookout for some Day Drinking Mom merches, and it's coming out soon. And also make sure to check out our website. We've always got our blogs that are on there.
And our funny photos.
Only photos that you can typically find on our website. Every now and then we'll throw them out there on Facebook land. And next week you're in for a good treat. So we're not going to release the guest who they're going to be.
No.
But you're in for a good treat. Because if you like listening to Trish and I, you're going to love listening to these two.
Yes.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.